Howdy, everybody.
Hi all.
Follow up to our last video, Annie and I wanted to discuss another common reason for boot looping. So last time we focused on invalid key store settings. This time we're going to focus on uh, invalid or incompatible integrations settings that can keep the node from starting up. In particular, today we're going to tackle two things at once and also show like a quick and easy way to get SAML set up between Okta and Elastic Cloud. So if we can scroll down, the secure settings, what we're going to be doing is following that SAML guide that's linked there. But also, and if you don't mind showing the tab to the right, we're going to be kind of following, two tabs to the right? I don't know, wherever the blog is. We're going to be kind of following Elastic's current outline of Okta, just with Okta's newer UI, and then eventually pivot over to kind of finalizing it with Kibana. So let's do it. In order to set up the SAML, you need to spin up a test deployment. We have our test deployment spun up, and then afterwards, we're going to be working inside of the Okta dev environment. So Okta dev environment, yeah. When we go to start connecting the SAML, you need to set up groups and admin, however that stuff works out, however you have it. We are going to be doing it on the fly. So, and if you don't mind, we're going to go create an app integration, and we're going to say we want a SAML one. So you can give it an app name, whatever sounds good to you. Test, Barbie, doggies, kitties, Barb. Oh my God, Barb. Test
Barb.
Barb. Barb is
Test
Annie's
Barb.
cat. We could give it a logo. We can skip that and we can hit next. So the next page is the main page that we end up configuring SAML. So for this, we're going to need to line up the stuff from the Kibana endpoint. So if we can go, under overview, can we copy the Kibana endpoint? And then also on this page, we're going to start toggling between these two pages. Can we like click into edit and open the Elasticsearch YAML? Awesome. Okay, so in there it tells us like the Kibana URL, blah, blah, blah. Can we like paste in our Kibana stuff? You're good.
Do, 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 do. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so the reason I like doing it like from the Elasticsearch pre-populated SAML docs is because two of these URLs end up becoming what we copy into Okta in order to do the first part of that Okta. So I never remember what it is. I think it's the SAML callback, the sp.acs. Can we copy that without the quotes? Or sorry, the value without the quotes?
Maybe. Okay.
And then in Okta, that should become our single sign-on URL. And then the SP entity ID should be the line above. And then last time when I was testing this, I messed up both of those lines separately. So callouts for people here. Older stack versions, the single sign-on URL was different. It ended in like an API v1 SAML something something. Latest versions, it's a SAML callback. And then second one, on the audience URI, that final slash does matter, which we'll use later to break it, right? Like, it'll be awesome. Okay, so if I remember correctly, default relay can stay empty. Name ID format becomes email address. Application username can stay Okta username. Create an update. Yeah, the rest of that can stay the same. Okay, so at that point, usually if an IT person was setting this up, they would fill in the attribute and group attribute statements for our purposes, we're just going to manually add the app to a group later. Just because it's a dev environment and I don't care. Let's keep scrolling. I think at that point, we should be good to go preview the SAML assertion. Oh, it's not a valid URL. Good. Okay. Error number one. Let's go find out.
Okay.
What's invalid about it? Can we test removing the port?
Yes, 100%. We can test removing the port.
Oh, you have an L.
Why do I have an L?
I don't know, but we probably have an L everywhere. Yeah, that next line has an L.
Blast! It's my fault.
Okay. It's a good highlight. Wait, does the second line have an L?
No.
Oh, okay.
The second does not have an L.
I'm ready.
I did.
Let's try again.
Okay.
Good troubleshooting. I like it.
Thank you. Previously, we had an invalid URL because of me. End user error truly is my most common issue I experience every day.
It's always funny when they're like, oh, did you fat finger it? And I'm like, did you fat copy paste it? Like, yay! Okay, so now we have SAML stuff. A thing to notice here, right? Like, so in the future, like if we did a SAML trace of a login, like you're going to see this type of SAML assertion, right? So if it's okay, I'm going to annotate on your screen. Like here we see that same callback. Here we see that URL ending in a slash. I've seen this, I know it. This is what told us it was an email address. Something in here I thought would say groups. I don't remember. Blah, 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 audience, blah, blah. I don't see it. I'm probably just missing it. Last part is name ID.
Groups.
Okay, so just calling out, the SAML assertion frequently contains information helpful to later knowing which part of the Elasticsearch YAML to fill out. Obviously, if you literally set it in Okta, then you'd kind of know the exact values to set. But just calling out, like, because when you reach out to support, we usually ask for a SAML trace because we need to see basically this, right? In order to try to help you line up that integration. Awesome. Okay, so assertion's good. Now that we have our assertion, we should be able to go, sorry, we can exit out of this tab, but under the edit deployment, we should be able to fill in some of that other stuff. So attributes principal, we followed basic Okta, so attributes principal, we just highlighted would be name ID, all lowercase, one word.
Do we leave it in the quotes? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it fully matter to be in quotes? I never remember, but I do know that is the first thing we test. Also, if people are on Windows computers, the quotes look normal and they usually aren't, and it breaks everything. Like they can end up with like slanted quotes instead of normal double quotes, and then you're just sitting there like, what's happening? Or like some users like put double single quotes, you know? Like you really start questioning your life at that point. Like, I don't know what's wrong. The groups should be groups, plural, all lowercase. Okay, so at this point, we need the metadata path and the entity ID. Those are going to come from Okta, and it's going to generate it after we click to the next page.
Okay.
So those first two attributes are based on what we've set. Yeah, hit next. It takes you to a feedback form. And we're just going to click next. Also, good job, Okta. But I'm not filling out the form right now. Skip it.
We're Okta fans, sure. We're skipping your. They're going to be watching.
I just love how much you were like, am I a good person if I skip their form? Like,
I truly, I think it's so to give, like.
I gave feedback on the earlier test. So they have feedback for the environment. You're fine. Okay, we have our metadata URL right there. We can hit copy. We can go add it in on ours. Okay, and now we need the entity ID. So back on that last tab, you need to expand more details. It's in that like drop down, and then scroll down. It's issuer.
Issuer.
Okay.
This is so exciting.
So
I think for everyone watching this, like, this is so exciting because I feel like sometimes people skip over just going over these basics, and it's fun.
yes. And also, we're probably going to hit save and it's going to like fall on its face. And then people are going to be like, do they even know how to do it? And I'll be like, do I know how to do it? Like, I know how to do the elastic side for surezies. Like,
Having a really good time.
yeah. Okay. So comment number 2 is all of that is commented out.
Right. On purpose.
Huzzah. Okay. So we can hit back. And then the Kibana stuff is pre-configured. Again, just copying from the Elasticsearch docs, but you need to uncomment it. So scroll down to the Kibana and click Edit User Settings and uncomment that. So all this does is on the login page, it says give the first option as text, login with Okta with an icon that is Okta's icon. And then secondly, basic order 1 says, I think its default text is like login with Elasticsearch. So all this is doing is like actually giving users a button to click in order to log in with Okta. Okay, so we can hit back. So at this point, we should be good to save the plan. If the plan succeeds, then pre-high fives, and we'll break it after to show people. However, my confidence in getting the SAML correct says we should just save and see if it works.
Let's do a pretty heavy bet. I bet $1 it works because I'm generally excited to be alive.
I guess I'll take the bet. Before you hit save though, we need to add the users to the Okta group. Or sorry, we need to add the app to the Okta group. So back in Okta, sorry, so again, we had said IT people would probably have done it on that earlier save. We're going to do it manually. So I don't remember where that is. I think it's under directory. Will you expand directory on the left-hand side? It should have groups. Yeah, under groups, find test bar. Rules. There's under groups, under the word groups, under the title groups, sorry, there's rules. Or you can add it to everyone. Add it to everyone. Can you click into everyone?
Well, there are 3 people. Oh, I know why there are 3 people.
Yeah. And then under applications, scroll up and there's a tab. No, on the page, scroll up and there's a tab applications. And then assign application and then add test barb.
My goodness.
Test barb!
I bet this is so smooth if you've done it previously.
Well, if you know the Okta side, right? I think both of us are like, Okta changed its UI, and it's probably been a couple years, but it has not been a couple years for me. Like,
it's been a minute for me. Anyway, okay,
yeah.
here we are.
Okay, so at this point on the Elastic side, we should be good to go hit save.
All right, let's save.
Yeah.
Look at all these changes. They're beautiful.
Yes, they are. Very pretty.
Confirmed.
Okay, so this is going to kick off a plan. If I recall correctly, I spun up a 3-node deployment. So it's going to start rotating nodes. Do you mind if we go run cat nodes and we can just watch those nodes restarting?
Yes.
It's all good. If it's okay, I will send you the longer command of that.
That is perfect. I know you have one you really like.
I know. I started getting picky after people are like, I was trying to solve thing A, and I had them run this command, and I was like, oh, we have a couple of things to solve. Can you put after V, as in Victor, can you put equals true so we get our headers?
There we go.
Perfect. Okay, so what we currently care about while this plan is restarting is that while a node is restarting, it's not going to show in the cluster. And then number two, if a node successfully comes back up, that uptime is going to change.
Okay.
So we're just hitting submit and waiting because it will take a bit. Do you mind if we duplicate tab though? And let's go look at logs and metrics.
I hate when I do that.
I also do it every time, and I'm like, Chrome, why are you doing this to me?
It's like I just it takes the wind right out of my sails.
Yeah.
Just so dumb.
We should be able to filter to SAML. Okay. And then I don't think it has anything yet. So we're going to wait for that first node to restart and rejoin the cluster, or afterwards, like the node will be boot looping. And basically, we're going to run cat nodes until we have an indicator that it's time to look at logs.
CPU 100%.
I like the giggle. Like, hope that's going well.
Oh, well. If it's not good old CPU.
Am I mistaking? Oh, well. Is that an Office quote?
I don't know.
Oh, no, it's a meme. If it's not the natural consequences of my decisions, like, yikes.
I saw a video that was like, due to completely foreseen reasons, I will be late. And I feel like that's pretty relevant.
That is, and it's a little painful. Your note started up. Good job. Way to take that bet. Yeah.
I am so excited you owe me $1.
I'm so excited too. I'll give it to you in person so we actually can see each other. Okay. Congrats to us. Maybe we should just be like, oh, we meant to show you a video of how to set up SAML within 5 minutes. But at this point, how do you want to
really
break
backtrack.
it? So to break it, all we have to do is get one of those settings fat fingered, right? Like that L, if Okta had not caught it, then Elasticsearch would have failed on that L we had earlier.
So actually, I think that would be a fun one to replicate because I think that does happen. Just adding
dude, that ending slash is like my number one. Like when I receive a SAML case, I'm just like, I know slashes don't look important, but guess what?
Well, and I think that maybe there's an assumption that it'll just like auto-populate. It'll just,
because it's a slash.
Yeah. So I think it's totally fine. And you're not dumb if you miss the slash and you're like the rest of us. And that's an important hint. Maybe it's not. Okay.
That's fair. Let's set up the second layer of the conversation though, because just because you set up SAML you did not set up your role mapping. So you're going to permissioner. So I guess while we're waiting for this plan to finish, let's go in a new tab, open Kibana, so that we can show that the login screen works. Do you mind just from Kibana clicking the open button to use Elastic's built-in SAML? Just so that we can show like we're expecting to get to a home screen or a discover tab.
Good to do that.
To be fair, if it takes a bit, we are in the middle of a plan changing Kibana right now. So
things could go awry, but they didn't. Look at that.
It did it. Yay. Okay. So we got to the home screen. Now, in the top right, do you mind logging out? And then on this screen, click to log in with Okta.
Test bar. Oh no, a
You don't have
permissions error.
permission. Sorry, I think I was talking when you were talking.
No, we did the exact same thing. It's perfect.
Yay! Okay. So at this point, we want to line up the actual role mapping so that people can log in. For our testing purposes, we can just do the default generic, which I'll send you so you can copy over.
Okay. So back in the deployment and the
Plan has
API con.
completed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's actually just triple check that before we start changing more stuff. Look at it is a success. This will be red if it fails.
Not that we
Anybody,
see that a lot, but maybe.
not that we've ever seen that or caused it. That would be crazy. Okay. Let's go ahead and add the different parts.
So for
And then,
our test setup, because both of us were admins in Okta, it makes sense that we're doing a direct mapping over to super user, which is the admin on the other side. Obviously, that's like group dependent. And if people wanted to further filter to a particular group being passed over, line 5, you could add another row that says like, and the SAML group being passed over has to match a certain thing. And then you could add related roles. But for us, I don't care to do further. So we can just hit submit on that. Awesome. So because that change is dynamic on Elasticsearch, you should just be good to refresh the Kibana page.
okay.
Fingers crossed, we'll find out. Can I
Where's my
say if it works, I un-owe you a buck? Say yes
no?
before it finishes. Cool, thanks. And now we
Okay.
log in with Okta. Fingers crossed. We have permissions. Yeah.
Okay, that's one. Actually, that's two because we had the L. But
Yes. Okay, let's go break it.
okay.
So breaking it twofold. If it's okay, let's break it on the Kibana layer first. So back under edit. So let's view the Elasticsearch YAML to then say a catch that the Kibana YAML needs to line up to. So at the end of line 2, it says SAML1. That is a dynamic key that is setting the realm name. So I designated SAML1. If you read the Elastic docs, it usually says like cloud-SAML or something, right? But now if we hit back and go to the Kibana YAML references SAML1, right? And it's doing that lookup, on line 5. So let's break it and write SAML2, or write Cloud SAML, or write Dozer.
SAML. Oh, to Dozer. We're going Dozer.
Okay, and then let's hit save.
For anyone who, that's obvious, the most important highlight of this is
I think it's
man.
an excellent highlight.
Thank
It's a
you.
grumpy old man dog.
It's very mean. He's very mean, old Pomeranian.
Oh, I didn't know he was Pomeranian. I probably should have.
He's 16 years old and just runs this house.
Poor thing. I'm sorry. Back in Kibana, do you mind logging out?
Of course. Okay.
You're so
Gotta go.
kind.
Thank you.
Again,
I tried.
Kibana's restarting, so let's wait for Kibana. Do we have one Kibana node or two?
I think one,
Okay.
but let's go back and see. We just double check in a new tab. It's super easy. Since you start, oh, we
We
have
have
two.
two. Yay!
Leaving me.
I think it used to default to one. It's cool that it defaults to two now, though.
Oh, that is cool. SAML Dozer. Really I love using my animals on my tests.
Yes. I usually am pretty boring and just like version iterate, you know, you're like version 37, version 38, version 39. And eventually you hit your like version 11 p.m., version 2 a.m., version 3 a.m., version I'm done with you. Like,
Oh no. I hope I don't like that. Okay, so here we are. Great.
okay,
Now
yay! Click it.
we'll
It
do.
breaks immediately.
I'm just doing a hard refresh one more time.
That's
Maybe it doesn't.
that's smart. I want it to. I want it to break when I ask it to. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so all it says is cannot find matching realm. And all that says is in Kibana, we set a non-existent Elasticsearch realm. And then, yeah, I was like, and then there's like a lot of computer text, which is what happens.
Okay.
Perfect.
So to fix it,
We
we'll
undo.
just go
And while we
back.
undo that, let's go break Elasticsearch.
Okay.
Do you want to remove that final slash?
Else on the entity ID, right?
Yeah, line 7.
Yeah. Back. And we'll fix Kibana.
SAML
We're
1.
we're organized in our destruction.
Or
Okay.
at least fun.
Yeah. So we're back from SAML-dozer to SAML1, which matches our Elasticsearch YAML. And we've also removed the infamous slash.
I bet
Go
you a
ahead.
bucket fails.
We already know it's going to fail. That's a
Yeah.
bet I'm willing to take.
But then I'd get my buck back.
Yeah, I only gamble to win, Steph.
That's fair. Here I'm betting on the troubleshooting adventure that I want to have with you. Aww.
It was really fun.
Do you mind if we run cat nodes?
Not at all.
Once a node leaves the cluster, we should be able to babysit logs and metrics. Did you just hiccup?
Yeah.
My brain got so confused, like, oh, is she gonna yawn? And then I was like, I should yawn. Like, oh no. Like,
Your brain's like, the empathy.
like, and then afterwards I was like, what was it? Sorry. Can we go check logs and metrics?
Yep.
So that node should be starting up, and then, so loaded module.
That is not related.
Yeah, you can hit search again. The set provided SAML is not valid for realm. Which is true. Can we scroll on that page? Is that all it tells us? Yes. Okay. So it's generally stating that the SAML assertion before in Okta freezing is the SAML response that we're talking about, and that the attempted signature hashes did not match, right? Which I think part of what may be helpful to us is hidden in that ... Like usually it would tell you like received X but expected Y, which would potentially tell you more fully what the problem is. That is a good reason to say fully enabling logs and metrics rather than dealing with this like little UI here. Just because if you actually want to see the caused by message, you probably actually need full logging setup. But thankfully we know what the problem is on why those SAML assertions didn't end up lining up. Yeah, so this is the interesting thing. If you cause node to boot loop, it doesn't come up. It doesn't come back in cluster, which we were a 3-node cluster, and now we're a 2-node cluster, which means we are no longer fully highly available, which for a user would be very concerning, right? Like if I'm in production and now I don't have a third of my data. Yeah, so this is the second thing. Elasticsearch attempts to catch and tries to bring the node back up on the last working version. So it could try the SAML and it could fail, and that node could potentially stay down. Or in our case, it was able to successfully reapply the earlier working config. So the node did come back into cluster.
Cool.
Which is awesome. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go back to our edit and let's go fix, or it redid the node back to the previous working config. So it is on a working config. Okay, let's show the last part. This isn't going to be inducing an error. This is just telling people, do you mind going back to Kibana? Let's say you are no longer receiving errors. Yeah, login. But you are not seeing the permission lineup that you were expecting. That's exciting. Do you mind doing a Command-Shift-R?
I wasn't expecting that.
I just barely said there wouldn't be an error. This is why I don't bet, even if you do. Like, cool.
Okay.
Yay.
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Do you mind logging in with the Elastic Cloud SAML? Sorry, the Elastic Cloud SAML. So you go back to the Kibana menu and you click the open button. Open. Oof.
I hate when I do that. Oh, well, we have this. Okay.
Yay. Okay, so if people aren't receiving errors but aren't seeing the permission set that they are expecting, usually that indicates that either the groups in Okta aren't lined up as you're expecting, or that the role mapping is not fully set up how you're intending for that integration. So there's 2 ways to check this that require being logged in as somebody of the target group you want to test. One is on the Elasticsearch layer. Let's first show the Kibana layer. So in Kibana, you can go to, after the Kibana URL, where it starts like app home. Can we delete app home and then write internal/security/me? So,
Me?
yeah. Cool. So Chrome does not format that JSON, which is less cool, but the rest of it's fine. So right here, it's going to give you the SAML metadata that was passed. So now you can go test if there is potentially something in that metadata that you're not expecting. This is what Kibana was told. In particular, sometimes people need to set custom name ID formats, right? So this name ID format for us was default, so it didn't cause an issue for us. But if yours had been customized, this is how you would go find that string in order to line it up in the role mapping. Yeah. Oh my God. Amazing. Just because we got caught on that on a recent case. And by
I
we,
know.
I mean me.
That's awesome. Cool.
I see super user, but I don't see the word roles. Will you search the page for roles? SAML roles? Oh, dude, it was right at the beginning. Okay, right at the beginning tells you for the role mapping that you attempted, this is the destination roles that actually ended up inducing, right? So
Right.
this internal security me, when you load Kibana, if you do that hard page refresh, it's going to load in your browser network tab. So if you don't want to come to this API specifically, like you can go see it in the browser network tab. But for us, this is just the easiest way to see it. Just for thoroughness, let's do the same thing under DevTools so that we can just see that exact conversation. Like usually I'm working with an admin who has an end user. And so we have the end user. You have to exit out of that console thing to edit that box. You have to exit out of the console on the right-hand page to edit that box. Yeah, it's weird. So usually I have the admin send the user, like, in DevTools, go run this command. Just because having people go to that internal security may confuses some people. So we're going to run a git space _ security / authenticate or something close. Yeah. It started writing it for you. Yeah. And hit enter on that. So this is going to be the exact same content, but on the Elasticsearch layer rather than on the Kibana layer.
Woo!
Awesome. Okay, so at this point, we have successfully set up from the Okta UI from scratch. We set up an app for SAML authentication. We combined that with an Elastic Cloud deployment, Kibana URL. Once we had those working, Annie won the bet. We went and broke it in a couple of places just so we could see common ways that it does break and how you go look at the Elasticsearch logs in order to see when nodes won't start up. Oh, we didn't show that we got a boot looping message. We'll do that here in a second. It is the whole point. And then afterwards confirmed how you would go check the role mappings that you set up. I think as we wrap up, do you mind just showing that boot looping message just so that people know? Because that is probably the first symptom most people have, that they actually like have a problem they need to go look at. Oh, sorry, under deployment activity, do you mind go showing the generic boot looping message?
Yes, of course.
Somewhere under there, a plan should have failed for Elasticsearch. No plan failed? I'm confused.
Oh, no. Yeah, remember,
will you refresh page?
We didn't,
We didn't fail?
remember, we didn't fail, so we went and broke everything. I feel like we just took a
that Elasticsearch right there that removed the slash should have, I thought it would have caused a boot looping failure. It's going to be ironic if misconfiguring other things. Let's go check the SAML logs again. Under logs and metrics, will you go to the SAML logs? Remember when Kibana was erroring?
Yeah.
That it wouldn't let us log in?
Yes. Failed.
Because we got the SAML signature validation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw that. I didn't realize that wouldn't cause a boot loop. Fine. Can we go fix our slash? And then I'm pretty sure if we straight up use a bogus metadata path, that will actually cause us to fail. Adding garbage. I'm glad that you paused at the same point in the word, but you're like, how do you spell garbage? Like,
all right, I'm just going to save it.
Yeah. That's funny. Sorry, Eddie. I straight up was like, I'm sure it'll cause boot looping. Did not check.
Listen, we can't always be perfect.
I was right that it would cause problems.
It did. It did cause problems. And that's the important thing to highlight, is that it does cause problems.
Yeah. And now hopefully it'll fail.
If it doesn't fail, we'll have to revisit this tomorrow and make sure we get it.
Yeah. I was so surprised that the node came back into cluster. I was like, yeah, maybe it accounts for it now. Like, I thought that node would be down until we did a no-op resetting it. Like, it's cool. Congrats. I mean, I'm happy when the system self-heals, so that part's fine. Do you mind if we babysit cat nodes?
Do.
Somehow that made me think of I'm a Barbie girl.
Man, Aqua was the best when I was little. I remember like finding that band And their music is so wild. Like listening to it now as an adult, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They have like a song called Dr. Jones that I was like,
Huh.
it really bop. And I don't know if I actually like want to go back and like listen to some of these songs I really liked because they might be like way more disturbing as an adult.
I love that so much. Okay, somebody should potentially be boot looping now.
SAML.
That's not right now, though. That's 8 minutes ago.
Why aren't we? This is not going well.
I don't think it's going unexpected yet. We just barely caught the node being shut down. So the node hasn't even applied the YAML and then starting up yet. Is that our node? I didn't see which node left.
Zero, zero
Zero.
left. But zero's here now.
Oh, and one rotated?
Yeah, one is
Fine.
now out.
Maybe we're not boot looping.
Why is none of this working? Okay.
Could not load SAML. That's what I said. Yeah. Maybe
There
I'm
we go.
mistaken that it causes boot looping all the time. I don't know exactly what causes boot looping, but I know that we got it to fail.
Garbage dev.
Garbage dev. Oh,
Okay.
that's cool that now it says instead just authentication for this realm will fail. I love if it doesn't actually cause a boot loop. That's happy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That is very.
we did it. And we did part 2 that I totally forgot. Sorry, Annie. But we have now shown how to set up SAML from the Okta side over to the Elastic Cloud side and demonstrated multiple ways that we could get it to fail. I thought it was going to boot loop, but instead it may boot loop in the future. I'm not going to sit and wait for that plan, but we showed the myriad of ways, basically just searching SAML, that you can see setup error logs.
It was great, though it was different.
Cool. Thanks for hanging out with me. Sorry I talked so much.
Oh, thank you so much. This was great. I really like these. And thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, bye all.
Bye.